Today, the Senate will vote on the nomination of our colleague from Oklahoma, Senator Markwayne Mullin. If confirmed, he will serve as the next Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. His predecessor, Secretary Kristi Noem, presided over a department that steamrolled civil rights and violated court orders to carry out Stephen Miller and the president's mass deportation campaign. In pursuit of that campaign, communities, including my city of Chicago, were terrorized by masked, militarized agents whose presence did not establish law and order that the president promised. Instead, indiscriminate violent roundups swept up citizens, legal residents, American citizens, people with no serious criminal record, not just the, quote, worst of the worst, which the president had promised. In the state of Minnesota, 2 American citizens were killed by these occupying paramilitary forces, the so-called ICE agents, simply for exercising their constitutional rights. Failure will be the defining feature of Secretary Noem's legacy at the Department of Homeland Security, but so too will be the lasting pain she inflicted across the country, which still bears the scars left by rogue federal immigration agents under her watch. While Secretary Noem may be gone, she ought not escape accountability for her actions. I have little hope that Attorney General Pam Bondi, weaponized Department of Justice, will pursue that accountability. But the statute of limitations for many of these crimes, including any deceptions before the Senate Judiciary Committee under oath earlier this month, will exceed this president's last day in office. Senate Democrats have sought to rein in the lawlessness at DHS by recommending common sense measures that are broadly supported by the American people. Did you hear the White House announcement that they're going to take the ICE agents and send them to the airports to supplement the TSA? Well, the people with the TSA have said they're not trained to do our job. They can't read the X-ray machines. They're simply law enforcement agents of their own stripe. Interesting enough, too, they have announced that they will not be wearing masks in the airports of America. Thank goodness. So that traveling Americans and visitors to this country will not believe that this kind of justice really represents our country. We've tried to rein in the lawlessness of DHS by recommending common sense measures to change it. But unfortunately, the White House and some of my Republican colleagues have allowed TSA agents and the Coast Guard to go without pay. On 9 or 10 separate occasions in the last several weeks, we've come to the floor of the United States Senate, the Democrats, offering to fund the entire Department of Homeland Security, but for those 2 sections for ICE as well as CBP. We're going to fund the others, which would include TSA agents who've missed a paycheck. And each time, a Republican senator has stood up and objected. If they would not object, the payment would be made. We'd catch up with the payroll of these people who are performing these valuable law enforcement functions. Same thing holds true for Coast Guard and FEMA and CISA. We're not asking for much. Democrats have said repeatedly, in the meantime, we'll work with the administration for new standards for ICE that are consistent with law enforcement across the United States. How many state troopers in your state wear masks when they stop people on the highway? None of them. So the demands that this ICE agencies should be treated differently than professional police forces across America just doesn't make sense. And we've said that while negotiations continue, we'll be prepared to fund the rest of DHS. Senate Republicans have blocked us in that effort 10 times, all while our chaos at our airports grow. Yesterday, the president reportedly rejected a bipartisan offer brought to him by the majority leader, the Republican leader of the Senate, which would fund all of the Department of Homeland Security except for ICE. President Trump wants Senate Republicans to hold DHS funding hostage until the Senate passes his Save America Act. I'll save my speech on that terrible bill for another day. Instead of taking the deal, the president announced via social media that he would deploy ICE agents to airports, as I mentioned earlier. That directive caught officials at ICE off guard, and they were forced to scramble to piece together some plan. This was just amusing of the president. He announced it, and now they have to try to make it work. In response, the Flight Attendants Union said, the introduction of ICE agents into airports creates contradictory missions, as attempts to question passengers about immigration status may distract them from ensuring airport security. They continue. There's one solution that immediately solves the problem at our airports. Pay the people who are already trained to protect us today. I support that completely. We've tried 10 times on the floor of the Senate. I hope this week we'll try again. The people who are working at TSA deserve it. I agree. The people do not need more untrained ICE agents at this point. They need a paycheck to do their job. Against this background, Senate is considering whether Senator Mullin should assume his new role as DHS Secretary. The problems at DHS are larger than any one person, and I remain concerned my colleagues will not rein in their abuses. Senator Mullin has not criticized the department's past violence or tactics in the president's mass deportation campaign. He has issues with managing his temper, we've seen that, and he has virtually no experience with DHS, a sprawling agency that employs hundreds of thousands of people. I cannot look in the eyes of my constituent, Miramar Martinez, an American citizen who was labeled a domestic terrorist after being brutally shot 5 times on Kedzie Avenue in Chicago, Illinois, by a masked Border Patrol agent. It was an outrage. It is a miracle that she survived. Or Leah, the high school student from the North Lawndale High School, who has spoken out against immigration raids after her community was tear gassed and her friends and neighbors arrested by a masked ICE and Border Patrol agent. Leah is an American citizen. I cannot turn to them and promise to hold this administration to account on voting to install someone who might be another yes man who only enable this president to continue. For these reasons, I will not support Senator Mullin's confirmation to lead the Department of Homeland Security, and I yield the floor.